Let's talk Tanya for the 29th of Shevat. Yesterday we spoke about Timtum Halev, emotional unresponsiveness, and the antidote to that is Mevachin Lei's crushing of the ego. And we said that the way we crush the ego, or at least the first way the Alter Rebbe speaks about, is contemplating our essential lowliness because we are the animal soul. The struggling person, as opposed to the tzaddik, the struggling person, their identity is that of the animal soul. And the Alter Rebbe, so to say, proves that by citing a prayer that we say in the morning. We say, Elikai neshama shenasata bi tohirahi. We say, my God, the soul that you placed within me is pure. The clear implication of that is that I am not the soul. There is me, and there is the soul that you placed within me, which means that what am I? I am the animal soul. Now, this is actually simply the reality. Our default self is the animal soul. When we wake up in the morning, what are our first thoughts? I'm hungry. I'm still tired. I want to sleep some more. I'm in a good mood. I'm in a bad mood. In order to access the godly soul requires a shift away from our default self, which means that our default self is the animal soul. Interestingly, this is why also when the godly soul is introduced in the second chapter of Tanya, the godly soul is introduced as the nefesh hashenis, the second soul. On a simple level, it's called the second soul because, our sages tell us that we are born with the animal soul and the godly soul only enters in stages afterwards and is only fully integrated in the person by bar or bas mitzvah. But there's also another understanding over here, which is it is the second soul. Our primary and default identity is that of the animal soul. And this is regardless of how perfect we are in thought, speech, and action. There's a video that went around recently with a story. There was this story is being said by a Kretschnefer Chasid. It's a different stream of Chasidus. It's not Chabad. And he says that he heard the story from his Rebbe. His Rebbe, the Kretschnefer Rebbe, was a Holocaust survivor. And after the Holocaust, he was in a DP camp. And in this DP camp, there was a Lubavitcher Chasid. And this Lubavitcher, the Rebbe said, would wake up every day at midnight and begin his preparations for davening. His preparations for davening would take him all the way until dawn. At dawn, the Chassid would begin davening, the morning prayers, and the davening would take him until 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And the Rebbe says, every once in a while, I would go and I would stand near where the Chassid is davening to listen to the sweetness, the beauty of his prayer, word for word, with incredible concentration. He would be singing sometimes during davening. At 4 o'clock, as the Chassid finished his davening, he'd be wrapping up his talis and tefillin. And as he was wrapping up his talis and tefillin, he would sing to himself a song. It's a song in Yiddish that goes like this. Essen es sich, schlafen schlaft sich, was soll man tun, nasse davin sach nicht. Which translates as, when it comes to eating, it's natural. I eat. I don't need to convince myself to eat. I don't need to work on it. When it comes to sleeping, it's natural. Was soll ich tun? What should I do? That davening is not natural to me. And this is a person who had just spent 16 hours on davening. And yet, after he finishes, what's he thinking? What's bothering him? Yeah, I davened. Maybe it was an amazing davening. But at the end of the day, it's not the natural me. It's not the default me. It takes work. Why is it? Why is it that it takes work and it's natural for me? It takes work for me to daven and it doesn't take any work for me to eat. This is this idea that we're talking about over here, that our natural default self is the animal soul. And if my natural default self is my animal soul, that means I have desires for things that are ungodly. How distant am I from God if I desire things that He doesn't want me to desire? We're not in sync. We're not on the same page, me and God. He wants this, but naturally I want other things. And if I actually have sinned, it's even worse. These thoughts about our essential lowliness due to the fact that our default self is our animal soul breaks the ego. And ultimately, when we break the ego, as we learned yesterday, that allows the fire, the passion, the feelings of the godly soul to take hold. Now, I know a lot of you are listening to this and thinking, wow, that's pretty harsh. I am the animal soul. That's the default me. I'm lowly. Tomorrow, God willing, we will see if we can shed a little more light and a little more positivity on the conversation that we are having.